Food is our escape. Like we're emotionally eating because that is satisfaction that we can control.
And they've always said you are what you eat. They just
Yeah,
never explain it.
nobody ever
So
explained it. You take that away from people and they're like, damn, what do I have to live for now? I realized that putting my education before my health was something that was hurting me more than it was healing me. Like, I was just curious. I was like, why is what I'm doing now not working?
and regardless of what your like eating habits are, I think it does go to show you can learn more. And they say when you know better, you do better. So I feel like you're definitely a testament to that. Hello, everybody. I'm UraelB, and you're on the Rebirth podcast. We are sitting down with someone very special today. Someone I have taken a great respect for and admiration for. And this person is not just a person, a double as a healer. So you will be healed through this podcast today. And I can't wait to introduce y'all to Shemayah Clemons, also known as Ancient Artery.
That is me. Thank you for the introduction. That was super kind. And yeah, so I'm Shemayah Clemons. I am the owner and founder of Ancient Artery. My brand is a wellness brand and it's rooted in holistic health. I create herbal wellness products and also digital products that people can use to find their way back to themselves and ultimately develop a more intimate connection with their bodies, with their mind, and with their spirits because health is wealth. Outside of being a business owner, I'm also an influencer. So I work with brands to create them content, to help them market their products and or services. And I also help other businesses do the same. So kind of marketing genius and like a serial entrepreneur.
That's what's up, especially the last part, because I didn't know you provided services for other companies. That's real cool. I want to get back to that later, but when it comes to where you are now, how did you get here? What is the inception of Shemayah before Ancient Artery, before you decided to venture off and become an influencer? What was your upbringing like?
My upbringing, like I always say that I have such a strong foundation. I was raised in Inglewood, California, so I'm from Los Angeles. I have four brothers, a very wise father, a very loving mother. I was always taught to leave my mark on the world and not let the world mark me. So everything that I've ever done has been with the intention of being naturally influential and also setting myself apart from everybody else. But yeah, I was a brainiac, a nerd. I was valedictorian in high school. I got a full ride to UCLA. I was there for 2 years before I realized that putting my education before my health was something that was hurting me more than it was healing me. And so I left school during the pandemic when we were supposed to move out of our dorms and officially transition to doing work at home anyway. So that worked out perfectly. But over that time, I just started studying more about health and wellness and how to heal and how to just connect deeper with myself, how to eat better, how to speak better, how to manifest, how to, just show up in the world as my best self and really just become one with my divine purpose, my mission, and God.
I like that, especially on the health aspect in regard to school. You saying putting your education before your health had to change. I don't think I've ever heard anybody like see it like that. Was there something in your life that particularly happened that made you do that, or was it just, hey, this isn't aligning for me anymore and I'm being pulled in this other direction?
Yeah, so it was a series of experiences. Like growing up, I always had like a really weak immune system. I always remember taking a bunch of medication, getting sick often, and then also had a lot of complications with my menstrual cycle growing up as well. So when I got to college, those issues just started to like reoccur. And I was also being very unintentional with the way that I was taking care of myself. I always like say that I wasn't prepared for the amount of freedom that college gave me. I was responsible for eating however many meals a day. I was responsible for working out. I was responsible for getting rest and all these responsibilities and no real sense of priorities. My health wasn't at the top of the list. And so I just fell behind. I started like eating really late. I wasn't sleeping, but I was getting up early for class. I wasn't working out. I wasn't taking care of myself. And essentially I got sick at college or in college. And I told myself that I wanted to do things differently. Like I really wanted to make a change that was gonna have a long lasting impact. And so that's when I started to get into holistic wellness and health. And then I realized like, oh my God, like studying what foods have what benefits and knowing what herbs can do this and knowing what breathing exercises can like all the benefits of the things that we weren't necessarily encouraged to dive deeper into growing up is what I found a passion in. And I still wanted to be in school. I wanted to learn more about it. I think that if I was healthier and I felt safer in my body, I probably would have stayed in school, but it just wasn't aligned with what I wanted, what I really, really wanted. But I was basically studying like the human body. I was still studying anatomy and stuff like that. So it's pretty much still aligned with like the path that I'm on now. Like I was just curious. I was like, why is what I'm doing now not working? Like, why aren't why do I have to keep refilling these prescriptions? Why do I have to take birth control? Why am I developing ovarian cysts? What are these problems? I wanted to understand what it looked like and meant internally, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
so that's when I started discovering about Dr. Sebi. That's when I just started discovering Layla Africa, Dr. Layla Africa, Queen Afua. I also have a mentor. Her name is Shaniqua Samuels. I look up to her so much, but she was really close to Dr. Layla Africa. And it was really a lot of the information that she shared that really helped me understand how my body worked on a biological level. And I was like, you know what? This is interesting. Like, this is something I don't mind, like, spending hours, like, nose
Mm-hmm.
diving into, like, but everything else became boring.
That's
So,
interesting. I got two questions based on that. But first, I want to say this is educational. This is only information. We are not actual
right.
doctors. I'm not. I'm for sure not. She knows way more than me about any of this, and she's still not your doctor. So please do not take this as advice. This is just information. With
Right.
that being said, I want you to, I guess, explain to me and the audience a particular like mind explosion you might have had that is something so simple or basic from like fifth grade biology to when you became into what you're doing now, how you were honestly lied to growing up, or you might have
Yeah.
like been overthinking and they taught you wrong. Like, what's something you learned that we definitely need to unlearn now?
I would say like the biggest mind melt ever would have to be like what you eat affects your health. Like we were never taught like what we're
Yeah.
putting in our mouth is actually having a direct impact on how we feel.
What's up? It's UraelB, and I want to say thank you for listening to this conversation. If you're enjoying it, please consider purchasing my album that inspired it all, Respect the Real, Volume 2. The full album is available in the link in the description, and there's also a link to stream all the singles. Whichever way you support, I thank you for it. Well, I'm going to get out the way. Back to the conversation.
When I started like diving into holistic wellness, I realized like, oh, if you eat foods with more antioxidants or more minerals, your bones might not ache as much. If you're consuming
Mm.
calcium, then you will be able to recover from your body being in an acidic state. Like your diet impacting your health is like probably one of the biggest like nobody ever was like, hey, Shemayah, you should probably stop eating that or eat more of this.
Nah, that's real. And they've always said you are what you eat. They just
Yeah.
never explain it.
Nobody ever
So
explained it. Yeah, you heard that quote multiple times, but you never actually like you never got like the full read on it.
yeah, and the weird thing to me is growing up, especially like being from Inglewood, the fact that the black community itself has such a very strong hold on certain like dietary lifestyles and like eating a certain way to the point where they're kind of like ostracize you if you're not doing it means that okay, I think we've like bought this propaganda a little too hard and we don't even know we bought it, you know what I'm saying? And regardless of what your like eating habits are, I think it does go to show like you can learn more. It's not really about like, oh, you're bad for eating certain stuff. You just need to
Yeah.
learn more. And they say when you know better, you do better. So I feel like you're definitely a testament to that.
I know, like, I have friends that are from like Mexico and other countries. They tell me like it in their culture, normal to do like a parasite cleanse like every few months. Like that's something that they do. We weren't most of the black and brown people that I know, we weren't raised with parents that are like, okay, we're gonna cleanse your colon. Like let's make sure that we're abstaining from eating this or certain practices we weren't necessarily raised with. And I feel like because of that, it's just something that we've gotten comfortable ignoring. But also we have like this addiction to seasoned food. I think Drewski said that. Who said that? It was I was like, bro, it should just be too seasoned. Like
Two
good.
seasons.
Yeah, food is good, and I think
Hmm.
that sometimes when we're living a life that we're not necessarily the most happiest in, food is our escape. Like we're emotionally eating because that is satisfaction that we can control. You take that away from people and they're like, damn, what do I have to live for now? Like eating food or me being able to eat whatever I want is the little bit of peace and
Freedom.
excitement that I have. So I think a lot of
Hmm.
people have formed this really unhealthy relationship with food, and have perceived it to be something that is just supposed to bring you pleasure and not nourishment. I think that that's probably the reason why we are more so zombie-like and so oblivious to how our diet affects us and how it affects our mental health, and with us being under stress, going to eat this fast food or this processed food doesn't help it even more. So
And that's crazy to me because, of course, upon going vegan and realizing, like, okay, I have to change my own lifestyle and cooking and doing my own, due diligence when it comes to eating, I realized that half of the reason we think anything tastes good is because of plants. Like we're
yeah,
seasoning things with plants or things from the earth. So it's not like we don't like it. We're
yeah,
just used to the dopamine hits from certain food that we get. And like
exactly.
you were saying, the ability to choose that and kind of choose it based on lack and like this is all we had at a point, but also because at some point we just want to feel something. So this is giving us that release.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it's just like it's an addiction. And the reason why we like food, especially like fast food, it's not really the food that tastes good. Like it's the preservatives that make you addicted. It's the sugar that they put in the food. It's this like iodized salt. It's like all these enhancements that the food without it would probably be bland or not even taste good. But you're absolutely right. Like plants serve as the flavor profile. It's the entire essence of a meal. You don't season meat with more meat. Like you don't
Right.
you don't season chicken with ground powdered chicken. Like I always tell people there's no one way to like eat. There are just certain things that there are certain needs that
Hmm.
you should fulfill for your body. Like your body has micronutrient needs and then you have macronutrient needs. So like macronutrients is protein. Then you have micronutrients, and that's like antioxidants. That those are minerals, those are vitamins. Even water can be considered a macronutrient because you need a lot of it. But
Hmm.
it's just like understanding what it is that your body needs and finding the best way to get that to your body in a way that like your body can absorb it. So like some people are like, oh, you need protein, but over the years they've been eating so poorly that maybe eating meat might not be the best for them because they can't digest it enough. It's not to say that you can't eat meat. I think you can still be healthy and eat meat, even though I'm vegan. But I feel like it's about making sure that you're getting your body what it needs in the best form.
First, the label of being vegan. Are you vegan in the traditional sense, or is it more of the lifestyle and dietary habit?
I would say I honestly prefer to say like plant-based because
Mm,
I feel like it really does emphasize how much nutrients are in plants themselves. I still not consider, but I still consume things like honey, and honey is not considered vegan. So I'm not like your average vegan. I'm like a like super health conscious, turn it around, what's in the ingredients kind of like plant-based vegan. So,
okay,
and
okay,
then
I am
also,
too. I feel
yeah.
that. That's one of the things I never really got about the labels, other
Mhm.
than this is what it is, and plant-based being kind of like a derivative of veganism. It threw me off that it was separate because I thought veganism was plant-based. But if it's specifically like focused on herbs, plants, and things that grow naturally that aren't, I guess, animals, then yeah, I would consider myself plant-based too by those standards. I am a turn the label around kind of person and really read what is in things. And even if something says it may contain this, this, and this, I kind of stay away from it just because you never know. But it's also not just because of the veganism or animal thing. It is due to the diet you want to have and not consuming certain things. Like you could have sugar all day, but technically that wouldn't be health conscious, would it?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like sugar is vegan. Like sugar is plant-based, but it's not necessarily the best thing to consume, especially not in, like high doses or high amounts. So, yes.
Right, right. So my other question with that, labels aside, what made you decide to become vegan or plant-based, especially eating wise, and did it actually integrate with you deciding, oh, I want to help other people with this?
So I changed my diet 5 years ago. I cut meat officially out of my diet. I cut a lot of things out of my diet. But the reason why I like transition is because I vividly remember focusing on eating certain foods that weren't in my diet before and how good I felt after eating those foods. So like normally you would go to sleep after eating like a big meal, you get the itis, and it's like food is supposed to give you energy. But then you eat a meal and you're like knocked out and you're like, why am I like tired? But the foods that I was eating before, or not before, but the foods that I started eating after, like quinoa, I started eating like Brussels sprouts, more greens
Mhm.
and healthy grains. I was like, I feel good. Like this is giving me energy. So I was like, I can do this. And I just focused on eating more of those things. And then basically like my diet kind of like formed around that. And once I started feeling better eating that way, I started telling people like, hey, you should swap out rice for quinoa. You should swap out maybe this meat for mushrooms or jackfruit because it makes you feel good and it's still really tasty if you season it the right way.
So when it comes to health in particular, your angle is through consumption.
Mhm.
And when it comes to consuming things, what are things that not only you were consuming, but people in general might consume on a daily basis that could help eliminate a lot of problems or macro problems, if you will, the moment they start doing it?
Right. I would honestly say it's the order that people eat their food that's the most wrong.
This podcast and audio series was brought to you by Respect the Real, a network where creativity is anchored by authenticity, passion, and pure intentions. If you're enjoying this, please follow UraelB on social media, follow our guests on social media, and drop a comment on this video so we know how much value we're bringing you.
Like there's like two things that I recommend people to start doing, even if they don't change their diet. Like start your day with fruit, have breakfast. That should be your first meal. Because you need fiber and you need to hydrate your colon immediately after waking up. Because when you're sleeping, you're fasting and you're not consuming anything. So your body is detoxing, it's cleansing, it's regenerating. And when you wake up, if you immediately go for bacon, egg, sausage, and all these heavy foods, it's just like, well, damn, all the work I just did while you were asleep, like you tacked on more. You didn't make sure I flushed everything out. You didn't make sure that we went to the bathroom first. You didn't make sure we did any of that with the food that you eat. So I always recommend people to have like whole fruit in the morning, a smoothie in the morning, something that's very fiber rich, and hydrating. So fruit before anything is something that people should like try doing. Also, eating while drinking is like one of the quickest ways to like bloat. It's also one of the quickest ways to like get like digestive complications because when you're drinking, especially water, like water is one of the worst things you can drink while eating because it dilutes your stomach acids and enzymes. So,
Mm.
like if you like in order to break down meat, like you need some serious acids and enzymes. Like,
Right, right.
so if you're drinking water while you're eating like a steak or chicken or whatever, you're watering down your body's ability to effectively break down the nutrients in the protein in the meat or in anything that you're eating. So those two things are things that people can start doing that'll actually improve their health. It's just the way that we do things. Like drink your water 30 minutes either before or at least try to wait 30 minutes after, to consume your water.
You know it's cold. You kind of like you disrupted my entire like feng shui of breakfast because I loved sweet breakfast growing up. So even
Mhm.
when I became vegan, I started making just like vegan waffles to start the day. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? And as far as fasting when sleeping, I never seen it like that, but that's exactly what it is. And I noticed, yes, when I am eating these waffles with like some grits or some oatmeal, I'm gonna crash like 2 hours after that, and it's
Yeah,
just like the breakfast I'm used to, vegan or not. Like I'm
right.
not eating sausage and bacon no more, eggs at all. So at some point, I'm thinking, well, what is it? It was sugar to me, or it was also the fact that it was just too heavy. So
Right.
you made a lot of sense saying that, and then also with the water thing. Shout out to this guy. I don't know if you've ever watched him on YouTube. His name is Ralph Smart. He's one
Hmm.
of the people I watched on YouTube when I was in my like deep spiritual transformation bag in college and I'm like shaping my newfound perspective on life that literally said the exact same thing, like drinking water or drinking while eating is half of the problem you're having when you're digesting food. And I didn't think it was because it's water though. So what exactly is it about water other than it diluting your stomach acid that causes the problems? Because I mean, we need water, so why is it something we should wait to do or wait to consume, especially if we're about to eat?
I mean, water's not bad. Of course, I think that there is more benefit in drinking structured water, so like fresh juices, because that's still water, but it contains more minerals, it contains more antioxidants, it contains more vitamins and plant enzymes and things that can actually benefit you, and easy at that too, because it's liquid. You don't need to digest like water or juice. So there's nothing wrong with water. The problem is when you introduce water to your body while it's trying to break down food. Like you need strength. You need strong enzymes and acids when you're breaking down your meals, and that water just dilutes it. That's it.
So if I had the acid from a Coke or a Dr. Pepper, is that okay?
I wouldn't recommend that either. I wouldn't
No,
recommend
I feel you.
it
I just want
either.
to ask because for the sake of like what you're describing it as, that's clearly more acidic than water, but why wouldn't
Yeah.
that also be a good idea?
I would just say because like the acid in your stomach is not necessarily tantamount to the acid in like soda. Like you still have hella
Mm,
sugar in that soda. And then also, oh, I forget how to necessarily explain it, but consuming too much sugar really does disrupt it disrupts your microbiome, which is the bacteria that is in your gut. So too much sugar causes like a yeast overload. You actually do need yeast in certain portions, in certain amounts that's already within your body to break down certain nutrients and meals. But too much of it, that's why women get like yeast infections, or that's why you can get like psoriasis and plaque buildup on your scalp because that yeast is coming out of the body. Like it's just too much. So your body detoxes it in a way. So the Coke thing, the soda and stuff like that is basically because it's like too much sugar. Like let your body break down the meal, like not too
right.
much. Not,
Okay, no, I get what you mean by that. That makes a lot of sense. So, being that you're healing from the inside, are there any things topically that you do or external that, like, how does what you do currently not only translate from the inside out, but maybe on the outside with using the herbs or eating a certain way?
yeah, that's a good question. Some of the stuff that I eat, I also like put it on my skin. Like I like I like to take sea moss gel because the jelly form of sea moss is really good for your gut. Because the lining of your gut is like basically like slimy and like mucosal. And so when you consume things like aloe vera or no, nopales cactus or like sea moss gel, it really does help to like heal like the gut lining or even the intestinal lining that can be a little bit damaged. Even okra is something that's really good to eat. I love to
I
do
see.
sea moss gel face mask. I try to like keep like the lotions and stuff that I put on my body as natural as possible. But yeah, what you do internally definitely shows externally as well. So I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, you did. I'm only asking these hypotheticals because if somebody does want to improve their health and it's like, oh, I could drink this and rub this on my skin, like how would you use that rationale?
If somebody wants to improve their health, I would just tell them to start by detoxing. Start by detoxing. You have major organs in your body, like your kidneys, your liver, you have your skin, you have your spleen, your lymphatic system. All these systems have the capacity just this in the same way that they detox you, you have to detox them as well because they can become overloaded and clogged. And so if you really want to start improving your health, start by removing and releasing what's not serving you.
Nice. Okay, that's really good to know. So I want to touch on this detoxification before we pivot into something else. To me, it's not a scary word, but
Mhm.
to some, it could be a very scary or uncertain like territory for people to dive into. So, what exactly is detoxing doing? What is it for? And why is that the place to start if you want to improve your health?
Well, I always tell people like your body detoxes naturally every day. When you go use the bathroom, you urinating is detoxing. Like those are your
Mm,
kidneys filtering, toxins out of your body, and making sure that the amount of like fluid in your body is balanced. Your kidneys are always cleansing, your liver is always detoxing. When you use the bathroom, your intestines is detoxing. So you naturally detox every day. Your body is something that you naturally do. So I would say the best thing to start doing is like cleansing your colon, for example. Like the bundle I'm getting ready to drop, it includes my unpacked capsules, which are herbal capsules that cleanse the intestinal tract and really help to repair like damaged gut lining because we have ingredients like slippery elm in there and plantain leaves. And I also have a tea that detoxes the lymphatic system for you. It's also very calming because it has rosemary in it. And then also I have an iron tincture with people in Black and brown communities we have a lot of anemia going on. Like we're pretty iron deficient in the Black and brown community. So taking care of like your central micronutrient needs with something like a plant-based iron is really good, and you'll start to notice a difference in your energy. You'll be less fatigued, and you'll experience less iron deficiency symptoms like the coldness, cold hands and feet, like feeling lethargic and dizzy when you stand up, maybe even being more prone to headaches and things of that nature. I'm just really intentional about where I source my herbs from. My team
okay.
I make myself in my tea blends. I also make myself. I would honestly say like if the owner of the brand that you're thinking about purchasing from, you're not getting a good vibe from them and you don't necessarily like the way they do things, I wouldn't buy their products. I wouldn't, because it's
Mm,
all energy work. Like imagine if I'm over here, like while I'm making my tincture, I'm just like spewing out hate. Like,
yeah.
and like water takes form of like frequency and energy. So
Hmm.
I just feel like you should definitely be cautious about, who you're purchasing and sourcing your stuff from. So start detoxing and start putting more plant-based, more easily absorbable nutrients in your body so that you can give your body what it needs. When you take poor care of yourself, those detox functions, they can start declining after a while. And so your body's not detoxing as optimally as it really could. The reason why I say people should start there is because we have such a poor understanding of how toxic we really can be and
Mm,
actually are internally. Like, of course, we know that there's toxicity in the way we might communicate or show up in relationships with our family and stuff like that. We understand being emotionally toxic, but there is a such thing as being internally toxic, physically toxic. You have parasites that are feeding off of old fecal matter that is sitting in your intestines. You have overgrown yeast in the body, which, like I said earlier, is why women experience maybe yeast infections and things of that nature.
mhm,
There's so many wastes, like even free radicals, which are something that develop. Those are like compounds that develop in the body when you're consuming too much fried foods, and they can lead to developing cancer. So you got all these random things floating around in your inner universe, and detoxing is basically like getting a big broom that you can, or not a big broom, but getting a like a micro broom rather, and
mhm.
like going and sweeping up your body. Like that's all it is.
And with the detoxing, is there a safer way or a particular way you should do it? Is it like cleanse then strengthen, or should you be like strengthening these organs and cells at the same time as detoxing?
Yeah, there is. Everybody has a different philosophy on this. In my opinion, though, and what I've experienced, I definitely would say that while you're detoxing, it is very important to also focus on hydrating. And hydrating means nothing more than giving your body nutrients, the nutrients that it needs. Consuming
Mhm.
calcium is hydrating. Consuming potassium or getting potassium and calcium and iron and selenium through the foods that you're eating and what you're consuming is hydrating. That is the act of hydrating, just satisfying your body's like needs. So in my opinion, it's a great idea to make sure that you're hydrating with fresh fruits, fresh juices, eating more leafy greens, and drinking water while you're detoxing so that you can help facilitate the herbs as they're doing their job and also giving your cells what they need to repair. There's also something that you can do called fasting, which a lot of people are familiar with. There's different types of fasts. You can do a mono fruit fast. So that means that you're only eating apples or you're only eating pears. And you can do that for maybe 2 days or 72 hours. You could do a juice fast where you're juicing for a week straight. A lot of people do watermelon juice fast, which is like the best fast that I would ever recommend for somebody that wants to do a fast because watermelon juice is so nutrient rich and so satiating for the body that you won't find yourself needing a meal. Like the watermelon juice is just so satisfying. But you can also do like a raw food fast. So there's different ways to fast, or you can dry fast or just do a water fast. And when you're just doing like a water fast and you're not consuming any food at all, you're basically allowing your cells to clean up old cells. It's called autophagy is when like basically like cells eat themselves, like in kind of like
Dang.
your body's just cleaning itself up at that point. So there's so
Right.
many different ways to approach it. I really would say that it just depends on the person, their schedule, and what they have the capacity for. I wouldn't recommend somebody who's never fasted before to like do a random water fast if they haven't worked their way up to that. So it's definitely it's not a one size fits all thing, but there's benefits in any one of those things that I just named.
Oh, that's good to know. I've been in the habit of fasting over the past year, just like once for sure a week, but even like last week, feeling a certain way based on like being busy and stressed out. And I'm like, you know what? Honestly, my mind is repelling food. Maybe I need to repel it in general to give
Yeah,
myself a reset. And
right.
doing that is something that I never realized could be so strong because your body and mind are linked in a way that's like they're gonna tell you what it needs, but also be used to a certain pattern. So, what is it about fasting or detoxing that you would give it a piece of advice on when it comes to like mentally getting through that or actually going through with it?
I would honestly say, like, a piece of advice that I could give to somebody who's considering fasting or detoxing is to go at your own pace and pay attention to your body. Pay attention to your body and start small. You don't have to overdo it. Start with something like the capsules that I have, which are they're super easy to take. You take 3 before you go to sleep. If you want to take less, you could take maybe 1 or maybe 2 and that will assist in helping your bowels move. So start small and listen to your body. Don't overdo it. Don't try to do what she's doing or what he's doing because it worked for her. It's not to invalidate their experience, but that's just not your body. So listen to your body, and hydrate. Just continue to hydrate. Like drink your water, drink your fruit juices, have salads, have smoothies, have fruit. Like give your body what it needs without having to do too much. Like eating fruit it's very simple. Your body is not like you don't eat a pear and your body's like, oh my God, what is this? Like your body recognizes a pear.
For
Like,
sure. What's up? It's UraelB, and I want to say thank you for listening to this conversation. If you're enjoying it, please consider purchasing my album that inspired it all, Respect the Real, Volume 2. The full album is available in the link in the description, and there's also a link to stream all the singles. Whichever way you support, I thank you for it.
Well, I'm gonna get out the way. Back to the conversation.
Another thing I wanted to ask was about the spiritual aspects, not only of you as a person, but your business. And I found that you did an ayahuasca trip,
Mm,
and that particular experience is something I've heard about, and I
mhm.
personally haven't done. But ayahuasca is an herb, an ancient plant herb, correct? And how similar is that to normal herb consumption, and how different is it?
Oh, it's extremely different. Like ayahuasca is like a brew, actually. So there are a few things that go into making like ayahuasca itself. Based on the way
Mm-hmm.
it tastes, I say that there has to be cacao in there, um, and probably some other ingredients. I don't know the exact formula. That's definitely something that you'd have to talk to some bush people for. But it's very different. So like if you take like for example any of my products, that's not equivalent to taking like ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is more of a psychedelic medicine. Um
Mm-hmm.
there might even I don't there might be actual shrooms in there too. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But it's a psychedelic and it really does take you really deep within so that you can see yourself. Um and so when you're dealing with like psychedelics, um, when you're dealing with psychedelics of that like intensity, you really want to be supervised and you want to make sure that you're in a safe space. Like you wouldn't just like I wouldn't go to the kitchen, make ayahuasca and drink it. Like if especially if I had to like go out a meeting I needed to go to or anything like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
people like they sit in plant medicine ceremonies when they just want to get closer to themselves. They want to do
Hmm.
some most times they go out of the country because it's not really something that you can find locally.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's very, very much so different from like your average nettle leaf or peppermint, red raspberry, Oregon grape.
Right.
Like, these are just herbs that are more cleansing. Ayahuasca
Hmm.
is very cleansing as well, but it's more psychedelic for sure.
So it would be like a psychological cleansing versus like a
Yeah,
functional,
exactly.
like physiological one. Okay.
Exactly. But it definitely has so many health benefits, so many health benefits. I would say the equivalent to like ayahuasca versus regular herbs is basically like taking a psychedelic mushroom versus eating
Mm.
lion's mane mushroom. You're not going to get high from eating a lion's mane mushroom. You're going to get benefits from it and it's going to taste
Yeah.
good and it's going to be healing in some,
Hmm.
aspect. But you consume the ayahuasca or the shroom rather, and you're going on a trip. First of all, we are more anatomically like and genetically similar to mushrooms than any like than plants, than
Mm.
animals and all that other stuff. Like we are more similar to mushrooms. There's a documentary on Netflix. I forget the name of it, but it basically talks about that. Um,
Mm.
but I think that the reason why mushrooms are so powerful is they're foraged from like, like ancient grounds and like lands. And I
Right.
believe that some of our and I feel like what the information that you get from like consuming a shroom is almost like ingested consciousness and wisdom from our buried ancestors because
Mm.
mushrooms in order for a mushroom to grow, mushrooms aren't like regular plants. Like they grow really deep within the ground and they get their nutrients from like this very different network. I believe it's called like the mycelium or mycellular network.
Hmm.
Um, but mushrooms like grow in the most craziest environments because they're able to make the best out of like BS. Like mushrooms are able to extract nutrients from like I don't know, like the sewer for like lack of better words. Like it's gonna
Hmm.
find something in that sewer that can be used to offer some kind of benefits to whoever consumes it. So mushrooms are just different. Like
Yeah,
they're
they are, and it was never something I considered like, okay, I want to work myself up to this. But do you think that is something people should do or caution? Like, if you're starting to take your health more seriously, you want to do more herbs than like pharmaceutical, bioengineered drugs, and you want to start completely evolving your life. Do you suggest psychedelics at least once or ever so often in people's lives?
I think that a lot of people can benefit from microdosing. Not necessarily like taking like they don't have to like pop a whole shroom, but like at least
Mhm.
microdosing. Like shrooms really have the potential to make you a happier person. I feel like they help you to like get on the same frequency as like whatever's in your environment. For me, I'm like naturally a grateful person. So when I'm like on a trip, I'm like absolutely grateful. Like I am just completely like, oh my God, like it's just so much abundance around me. I see it even more. I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my
Mhm.
God, there's a roof over my head. I have great friends. My mom,
Yeah.
me, I have a good relationship with this person, with that person. My business is, like, and so I feel like you can definitely benefit from like microdosing. I would recommend if anybody is open to doing that, start with microdosing because it can also help you become more receiving of the herbs and all the healing
Mhm.
things that you're consuming because shrooms help you develop and foster new neural pathways in your brain. So,
This podcast and audio series was brought to you by Respect the Real, a network where creativity is anchored by authenticity, passion, and pure intentions. If you're enjoying this, please follow UraelB on social media, follow our guests on social media, and drop a comment on this video so we know how much value we're bringing you.
Okay, that's good to know. That's a entirely different rabbit hole I don't want to go down right now. And I want to wrap this up with a few last things just to make sure we get it out there. This is Rebirth. This is a podcast about not only evolving as a person, but knowing where you start and where you end up will never be the end. It's a continuous loop of life, and you'll constantly be transforming. So could you talk about a pivotal moment or a particular moment you'd like to share where you in particular either experience your own like death in a close family or relationship or within yourself that transformed you into a different person?
I've been blessed to not experience like a death in the family so close or even amongst like my friends. Like I know one day like we don't live forever, so it's coming, it's inevitable. But I would say like one of the most transformational like rebirths I've ever experienced was when Nipsey passed.
Mm,
And like I don't know why, but when Nipsey passed, it felt like a big brother or an uncle or like a cousin like was killed and like I was grieving so heavy and I felt such a loss from his death that I felt like I needed to step up and do something. Like I'm like all this we just lost all this game and all this power from this person who's not here anymore. Like I need to step up and do something better. And so that was when I was in college.
mhm,
And I remember at that time I started working with a nonprofit based in Inglewood
mhm,
called SJLI, and I started working with like some young boys who were probably from the ages of like 10 to like 13. I know, yeah, like maybe no, like 10 to 16 maybe. Like they were
mhm.
they were of different ages, but what really motivated me to do that was Nipsey passing because I felt like I needed to give back to the community and I needed to go
Mhm.
hard.
Nah, even on that front, like of course, being from LA, there is an energy that was permeating through the city, or
Mhm.
just in general, if people were connected to him somehow, that you could feel had shifted and altered. And crazy enough, I actually went vegan that year. That was like where I finally was like, I'm cutting out all of the other things I was eating. And earlier
Yeah,
that year in January is when I started. End of March is when he passed, and then it was
right.
something strange at the time. It also made me realize, like, yeah, something weird is happening. And it was one
Mhm.
of those things where, from the top down, like ethereally, and then down to this physical world, like things are starting to change. And you gotta
Yes.
get with it or get lost, or also
Yeah.
just take a look at yourself to see what you're providing to the world or to yourself and how you can do better. So his death was definitely one of those catalysts, not only for me and respecting what I do more, respecting the art of music and entrepreneurship more, but also figuring out how I can give somehow to other people in that way too. So that's what's up. All right, so last but certainly not least, I want you to speak life into yourself, the version of you that knew this particular life was for you, and the versions of you in the future that know all of the work and dedication you're putting in right now is worth it, and you need that motivation and you need that life to pursue what you're doing.
I guess I'll do it in the form of like a journal entry or a note to self. Shemayah, I'm really proud of you and how far you've come and how you've maintained your resilience throughout everything that you've been through. I am grateful for the way you continue to show up in love, the way you continue to lead with love in everything that you do. I am proud of how you show up for your friends, and how you speak life into others, and how you've made a career, and brand and business out of scratch from just pure passion, and how far you've come and how much you've bet on yourself and how much faith that you've had in the way that everything is going to work out, because no matter what you say or whatever trials and tribulations you go through or down days that you have, you've come a really, really long way, and nobody can take that from you.
I feel that. I feel that.
It's your turn.
So
You gonna do that?
of course I am. I have to. I can't sign off without so. I want to talk to Urael. UraelB, the one who wants to leave a legacy, the person who wants to make sure that people feel valid and heard, not just through their own words, but through stories like yours that know it's not you're not alone. Everybody is going through something, and with this particular phase of your life, as you're walking back to your past and transforming into a new person because of that, you're doing it for a reason. You grew up in an environment that didn't allow you to shine and thrive in a way that was really wholeheartedly you and unconditional through love. But you knew that that was what you were deserving of, and you're going to achieve that. You're going to give it to other people, and you're going to continue to show people that the way you are and the way you show up naturally is all that's needed. You're the best version of yourself at all times. Believing in that and feeling that is the main thing that's going to keep you going. No matter what you see around you, the world can be deceiving. No matter what people say about you or about life, life can be deceiving. You're just going to have to trust your gut, your intuition, and the things you hear inside that make you feel like all of it is worth it. Even if you don't see it right away or you can't feel it right away, it is definitely worth it. And all of this is not in vain. You're a God. You're a person that knows how to create and will create constantly so that other people can continue creating too. So keep shining, keep thriving. And I appreciate you. But sure, so shout yourself out. Let the people know where they can find you. Let them know how to connect with you and to stay tapped into everything you got going on.
Awesome. Yeah. So once again, I'm Shemayah. You can find me on Instagram at Ancient Artery. And then you can also visit my website, ancientartery.com, to see all the new things that I have dropping, coming soon, and out for you to purchase and take advantage of and support.
Are there any recommendations on text healers and people that you could recommend to people for them to get knowledge, information, and or find a pathway into starting their journey and to being more health conscious? Give me like 2 recommendations on something.
Absolutely. Well, I would recommend everybody to go get my Back to Balance bundle. It has some amazing, really easy to take, highly absorbable, bioavailable products that are all plant-based, all vegan, sugar-free, gluten-free, soy-free. They're just pure herbs. And it hits a lot of marks that for people who are looking to improve their health. So I would recommend that. And then I would also recommend this book called We Are Not the Same by Shaniqua Samuels, for everybody that's Black and brown, to go read, because it really does help you understand how our biology as people of color, as melanated rich beings, differs from that of our counterparts, and how we need to make sure that we are catering to our bodies and to our anatomy. So I would definitely recommend those 2 things. It's called We Are Not the Same by Shaniqua Samuels.
That's fire. That's fire. Yes, y'all go to ancientartery.com. Make sure you purchase. Y'all down there in the A or in Georgia, please tap in with her. Y'all know she's going to be at certain events and doing things in the community. So that would be lovely. I'm UraelB. Respect the Real. Volume 2 is currently out. Want you to digest that, consume that. Your inner child will thank you. And remember to always respect the real. And this is Rebirth with UraelB.
Hey, it's UraelB, and I want to say thank you again for tuning in to this conversation. Your attention is extremely valuable. So if you took any value from this video, please consider liking, sharing this with someone, and subscribing to this channel. It goes a long way. And stay tuned for more. Check out one of these videos right here.